Coming up on Valley News Live at 6, a complaint that some Fargo streets are too narrow. Why the city says it can't do much about it. Residents of a North Dakota town are told to evacuate because of a grass fire. And which NDSU Bison are expected to be picked tonight during the National Football League draft. Valley News Live at 6 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 6.
A Fargo woman reached out to our whistleblower hotline today, concerned about drivers navigating through parked cars on both sides of a narrow street. The woman says the situation prompted a crash in the 4900 block of 28th Avenue South early this morning. Police say the cause of the crash is still under investigation. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley took a closer look at the road in question and asked about possible improvements.
While what city engineers call local streets like this one can seem clogged with cars parked on both sides of the road, City of Fargo engineer Jeremy Gordon says that 36 feet wide, that's what it's made for.
So that's wide enough to allow for parking on both sides.
Gordon says if a local street serves apartment complexes, they almost always try to build the road wide enough for parking on both sides.
You know, it does create friction, we call it in the business. So you do have to slow down. You should only be driving what you're comfortable driving, regardless of the speed limit.
Adding complaints about roads like these are basically unheard of in his office.
No, to be honest, the only thing we usually hear about local streets is fast drivers, but it never crashes. Unless it's middle of the night when people are doing things they shouldn't be doing.
And Gordon says the city has no plans to reevaluate the parking situation on any streets in Fargo this summer.
So we get requests to reduce parking in the winter based on snow, drifting, and banking, but really never in the warm months.
Emphasizing it all comes back down to driving cautiously. In Fargo, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Gordon adds if you feel your street has a traffic issue, you can contact the city to come and evaluate. We have contact information on our VNL News app. Just go there and click on this story. And if you need help uncovering an issue in your community, here's some advice. Call our whistleblower hotline. We'll do our best to get to the bottom of it. Call 701-237-6576 and leave your tip. People in Carpio, North Dakota have been told to evacuate their homes as a precaution because of a runaway grass fire. Carpio is northwest of Minot along Highway 52. The population is about 130. Residents were told to go to the school in Berthold, which is nearby. So far, there have been no reports of damage to any structures. The fire, of course, is the latest sign of drought conditions in central and western North Dakota. Here in the valley, I don't think temps climbed as high as expected today. Let's find out from Hutch what impacted that and what we can expect tonight. Hutch?
And a warm front is moving through. We are seeing the winds, as you can notice at the Dakota Magic Casino. Those south winds are causing those flags to whip around. Temperatures struggling in northern parts of Minnesota. 48 in Roseau, 50 in Hallock. Why so cool there? Well, some showers are exiting. Hey, we're continuing to warm here in the FM area, up 2 degrees from the last hour. 70 now in Jamestown and in southeast North Dakota. So the showers are exiting, and by around 8 o'clock, they should be all but out of our neck of the woods. The clouds linger for a time. So slowly rising temperatures through 8 o'clock, and then temperatures level off into the upper 50s in Fargo. We will have gusty winds through the evening, even into the 10 o'clock hour. Overnight, things do start to quiet down, and the heat is on. Mike, I'll have details on some of those 80s out to the west, whether they make it into the valley, and we'll talk about a substantial chance of some rain showers this weekend as well. Forecast in a minute.
All right, look forward to that. Thanks. Police have just released the name of a man who has died in a crash southeast of Grand Forks. His name is 34-year-old Craig James Thiede from Grand Forks. He died this afternoon. Authorities report that Thiede was driving along Highway 2 when his car went into the ditch and hit a tree. The state of emergency in North Dakota regarding COVID-19 is being lifted. North Dakota has been under the state of emergency for 422 days. Now, along with that goes the executive orders meant to limit the spread of the virus, including business closures, mask mandates, and vaccination efforts. The governor's office says that the last part is the very reason why the residents can get closer to getting back to normal, as more than half of North Dakotans have received at least one dose. Meanwhile, a local doctor says this pandemic will continue to be a long-term issue until we get more vaccinations. Dr. Richard Vedder with Essentia Health adds that better education is needed, that the vaccine protects from the disease and is a life-saving measure.
They're not going to get infected, and if they do get infected, they don't end up in the hospital near as likely and have a much lower chance of dying from the disease.
Vedder adds that the next step is finding a vaccine option for those under the age of 16 and getting more of the 20 to 30 age group vaccinated. 2 vaccine clinics will be held in Becker County next week. The first will be Wednesday at the Detroit Lakes Cultural and Community Center from 12:30 to 3:30 in the afternoon. The second clinic will be Thursday at the Lake Park City offices from 9 in the morning until noon. They'll be administering the Johnson & Johnson vaccine there. You can find a link to sign up for an appointment on our website at valleynewslive.com. And if you're looking for other options to get a vaccine shot in our area, use our VNL vaccine tracker. It's on our homepage of our website. Or you can open up your phone camera and point it to the QR code on your screen, then tap the link that pops up. The entire Fargo Police Department recently went through implicit bias training. The chief says that we all have natural biases and that it's critical, especially in law enforcement, to recognize that those are so that they don't impact important decision making, adding that right now the department needs to focus on community outreach, transparency, and trust.
We're in a pretty polarized environment nationally, and so our department has to really be adaptable and open to these concepts, understand them. It's not a negative against anyone. It's just something we need to understand about ourselves and make sure that we're serving the public as fairly and objectively as we can.
More than 200 officers and civilian staff went through this 7-hour virtual training. The North Dakota Board of Higher Education and the University System Chancellor want Governor Doug Burgum to veto a bill that would prevent a school from funneling grant money to a person or organization that promotes or performs abortions. University system officials say academic freedom and other factors outweigh the loss of so-called challenge grant funds. The Republican-led legislature passed a bill that was primarily aimed at preventing NDSU from funneling grant money to Planned Parenthood for sex education in the state. Renters and landlords have received some help to pay their bills. The state of Minnesota has announced a new rental assistance program called Rent Help MN. It makes it possible for renters to get caught up on overdue rent and utilities dating back to March 13th of last year.
Program of Rent Help Minnesota that partners with counties, partners with our local folks in the cities, partners with our federal government who move that money, that assistance, that rental assistance money out to the states, is ready to go. While she will not speak.
Now, to see if you're eligible, we have a link on our website at valleynewslive.com. Families this weekend are celebrating the Red River Valley's first college graduation of the season. However, COVID-19 is taking away a lot of the tradition. Commencement at Concordia in Moorhead is scheduled for Sunday. It's not going to allow any guests. It'll be graduates only in the Memorial Auditorium. Family and friends will be able to watch, even though through a live stream. Concordia is holding 2 ceremonies on Sunday, one at 10 a.m., the other at 2 p.m. The NDSU Bison left Fargo today for Texas in this weekend's playoff game against Sam Houston State. Remember, the game is on Sunday, beginning at 2 on ESPN. Just as important, certainly to us, our pregame show starts at 1 Sunday afternoon on KX4. It'll take you all the way up to the kickoff at 2. So it's the pregame show at 1 on KX4, the Bison game at 2 on ESPN. Later on Valley News Live at 6, how the generosity of 2 women will benefit people in need.
And we have some breezy conditions as we head into the evening hours. The heat is on the way, and I'll have hour-by-hour details on some Sunday showers as well coming up. Join me. Weather is next.